Chosen one. Top secret projects are never announced. They are discovered at the right time. Let that marinate. You were not born on accident, and you definitely did not survive all you have been through just to pay bills, scroll endlessly, and wonder why you feel like an alien in rooms everyone else seems comfortable in. Here is a chilling fact. Less than 1% of people ever fully step into the true reason they were created. The rest, they settle. They shrink. They drown in the noise of culture, crushed under expectations that were never designed for them in the first place. But you were hidden, not because you were worthless, but because you were dangerous to the wrong system too early. You were not overlooked, you were veiled, heaven's version of classified intel, that nagging sense that you are different, that your timing feels weird, that you are allergic to mediocrity, allergic to fitting in, allergic to surface-level purpose. It is not your imagination. It is your coding calling out to the clock, because the time has come. You are God's top secret project, engineered, encrypted, and unleashed for such a time as this. And by the way, if you still feel like a hot mess on most days, do not worry. Even missiles wobble before they lock on target. Let us get into it. Type yes if something in you just recognized itself in that. If this is already landing, make sure you are subscribed. This is not a channel follow. This is a sacred pipeline into everything God is releasing for hidden ones in this season. And if someone came to mind just now, someone you know has been feeling like an alien in every room, send this to them. When you bless others, your blessing increases. Number one, some people think their delay means denial. But the truth is, God was covering you. If your full purpose had been revealed before the right time, the wrong people would have had access to it, and access breeds distortion. People cannot attack what they cannot see. And God is a master of camouflage when He is building something dangerous. There are dimensions of your calling that had to be developed in secret, the same way diamonds are formed in pressure and darkness. Your process required hiddenness. It was not punishment. It was a firewall. A delay that looked like stagnation, but was actually strategy. You were not behind. You were being built, sharpened, stripped. If you had gotten the platform before the character, it would have crushed you. If you had walked into the room before learning discernment, you would have trusted snakes in suits. So, God let you be unseen, uninvited, even misunderstood. Not because He forgot you, but because He was protecting the part of you that would carry nations later. The season of hiding was heaven's way of making sure you did not die in the process of becoming. Because the level of impact you are called to demands more than talent. It demands a bulletproof identity. That kind of strength is only forged in silence, in private, in wilderness places where no one's clapping and no one's calling. Just you and God and 1,000 silent battles nobody saw. So, no, you are not random. You are not late. You were never meant to be part of the crowd. You were hidden because you are not common. You are lethal, and lethal things are always kept locked away until the world is finally desperate enough to need them. Type Amen if you needed to hear that you were not rejected, you were protected. Number 2, you are not a late bloomer. You are a timed explosion. That is the real reason things did not take off when you thought they would. You were not waiting, you were being wired. When God builds something that is meant to cause a shift, He does not rush it. He hides it, loads it, and sets the timer. People looked at your journey and thought you missed your moment. But what they did not realize is that your moment was not meant to come early. You were not supposed to go off until everything around you was dry enough to catch fire. Some people run ahead of time, and they burn out. Others are forced to wait, and they light up when the world is finally in position to receive what they carry. That is you. You were not born to peak early and fizzle out. You were born to ignite, to interrupt, shake, and awaken things. But here is the truth no one likes to admit. Being a timed explosion means you often feel like you are stuck, even though you are full of power. It is frustrating. You feel ready, but the doors do not open. You feel gifted, but no one sees it. You have been ticking while others were clapping. You have been preparing while others were performing. But God does not waste power on pointless timing. He waits until the landscape needs what you carry, until the stage is unstable enough for your voice to bring clarity, until the right ears are desperate enough to listen. When that time comes, not even your doubts, delays, or detours can stop it, because explosions do not ask for permission, they just happen. And when you go off, it will not be subtle. You will shift atmospheres without trying. You will disturb patterns that kept people asleep. And the best part, people will think you came out of nowhere. But the truth is, you have been loaded for years. You are not behind. You are on schedule. Number 3. Obscurity was your refining furnace, not rejection. People think if they are not seen, they are not valuable. But God does not build glory in public. He builds it in the quiet, uncomfortable places where no one is watching and nothing seems to be happening. That season where nobody called you, supported you, or clapped for you was not a curse. It was intentional. It was heaven's strategy to purify what could not be seen by the crowd, but would matter when it was time to be revealed. The truth is, if you had been visible too soon, your identity would have been shaped by applause instead of assignment. And applause fades, but purpose does not. Obscurity stripped you down to the core. It revealed what was real and what was noise. It exposed your insecurities, tested your motives, and made you face who you were, without a stage, without a title, and without validation. And that is where real leaders are made, in the tension of becoming when quitting feels more reasonable than continuing. People saw you being silent, but they did not see the work God was doing behind the scenes. They did not see the tears, the discipline, the private wrestles. They just assumed nothing was happening. But fire does not make noise when it is refining gold. It just burns, and you were burning in all the right ways, burning off ego, burning off comparison, burning off the pressure to perform and pretend. You were being made clean, not just skilled. That is why when your name finally comes up, you will not just be talented, you will be trusted. You will carry weight that was not manufactured. You will have depth that could not be faked. You will not need a platform to prove yourself, because you already became the person the platform was waiting for. So, no, obscurity did not disqualify you. It qualified you in ways applause never could. It was the hidden workshop of heaven. And now that the process is nearly done, you are not stepping out as a product of popularity. You are stepping out as proof of preparation. Type fire. Tile language given. That is why you have always felt out of sync with your surroundings. You were not made to repeat what has been said. You were not created to echo the noise. You have been carrying a language, a message, a frequency that could not be released until this exact moment in history, and that delay, it was not denial. It was divine synchronization. Heaven does not release certain voices until the earth is desperate enough to hear them. You have tried to blend in, maybe even silence yourself, because you thought you were too much or too different. But that tension you feel, that inner resistance to conform, it is not rebellion. It is revelation. It is the evidence that what you carry was not supposed to fit inside the molds you were handed. You were wired to disrupt, not decorate. You were not built to sound like anyone else, because your assignment is prophetic, not popular. What God placed in you is not recycled. It is not trendy. It is not for approval. It is for impact. It is being cultivated in silence and fed in secret. And now the world is groaning for voices that do not just speak, but shift atmospheres. That is you. Your sound will provoke discomfort before it produces transformation. You might get misunderstood before you get honored, but do not dilute it. Do not soften it. Do not apologize for it. Heaven trusted you with original code, and it only works when you speak it with boldness. There are systems your voice is called to interrupt, conversations your presence is meant to flip, cycles your language is built to break, not blend into. You do not speak just to be heard. You speak to awaken. That is why it has not been easy. That is why it is felt like nobody gets you. Because the message you carry was not made for an earlier. You are not just speaking. You are releasing something heaven's been holding back until now. Number 5. Your wounds are blueprints, not blemishes. Your wounds are not accidents. They are assignments. What you have been trying to forget is actually the map someone else will need to find their way out. You prayed for God to erase the pain, to undo the chapters that still sting when you think about them. But what if those moments were not meant to be deleted? What if they were meant to be decoded? The things that almost broke you were not wasted. They marked you on purpose, not to shame you, but to shape you. Not to ruin you, but to reveal the instructions for others still bleeding silently. People do not need perfect examples. They need real ones. They need someone who has walked through hell and still carries clarity. Someone who did not just survive, but understands what it means to keep going when nothing makes sense. The scar you hide might be the very thing someone else is praying for an answer about, because scars are not proof that you failed. They are proof that you healed, that you endured what was meant to kill you, and came out with language others can live by. You do not have to know all the answers. You just have to be honest about the pages you tried to rip out. That is where the power is. Pain did not make you less worthy. It made you more useful. It taught you things the spotlight never could. It gave you authority that cannot be learned in books or borrowed through imitation. It gave you empathy, vision, wisdom. It gave you a voice that trembles not out of weakness, but out of truth. You were branded by fire, not to be remembered for your wounds, but to be recognized by your survival. Your story is not a liability. It is a lifeline, and if you are willing to stop hiding the blueprint, someone else might finally find the courage to build again. Type chosen if you just received your wounds as a blueprint, not a burden. The scar you just stopped hiding, it was never yours to keep to yourself. Someone is still bleeding from the exact wound you just decoded, still convinced the chapter that hurt them is the reason they cannot be used, still tearing out the very page someone else is praying to find. The link is in the description. A coffee, a seed from the blueprint you just agreed to stop burying. Not because you have it figured out, because you just accepted the map in your hands is someone else's way out. Let go of what God puts on your heart and say, Lord, let this reach the one still bleeding from the wound that was always a blueprint. Number 6. You are uncomfortable because your assignment is not local. You are not uncomfortable because you are broken. You are uncomfortable because you are misplaced. You were never meant to feel at ease in small spaces or watered-down environments. That pressure you feel, that constant irritation. It is not you being ungrateful or overly ambitious. It is the friction of carrying a global calling while being surrounded by local limitations. You were not designed to adapt. You were born to disrupt and redefine. Some people can settle. They can be content with routines, applause, comfort zones, and checkbox faith. But you cannot. And every time you have tried, it backfired. You shrink, and it suffocates you. You blend in, and your soul starts aching. That is not rebellion. It is recognition. Deep down, you know you were not sent to just fit in. You were sent to shift the atmosphere. That sense of I do not belong here. That is not your insecurity. It is your assignment, reminding you it needs more space than what you are in. You pray bold prayers and feel small results, because the room you are praying in cannot contain the weight of what you are carrying. The vision God gave you does not match your surroundings for a reason. It is not local currency. It is international language. The gifts in you are not common. They were not meant to only serve the room you started in. That is why the small talk drains you. That is why shallow missions frustrate you. You were hardwired to go deeper, wider, and further. You were born to be the blueprint, not the copy, and blueprints do not make sense to everyone. They do not belong in crowded drawers. They belong in open construction zones, places that are being rebuilt. That is why you have always felt too much for some people, too intense for some groups, and too futuristic for some systems. You were not being dramatic, you were being drawn out. Do not let small rooms convince you that your voice is too loud. Do not let safe prayers shame your bold ones. The world you are called to reach has not even heard you speak yet. You are not out of place, you are ahead of schedule. Number 7. Your isolation was divine intelligence, not emotional neglect. Your isolation was not a mistake. It was not emotional neglect. It was divine intelligence at work. You thought you were being overlooked, forgotten, even abandoned, but you were being hidden, and not because you were weak. Quite the opposite, because you were dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Heaven saw what you could not, who would betray you, who would drain you, who would derail you. So God stepped in and cut connections before they could cut you. Some relationships did not end because you did something wrong. They ended because God saw the long-term consequences of your short-term comfort. You cried over people He removed, not realizing He was protecting your blueprint from being copied, manipulated, or destroyed before its time. You thought it was heartbreak. He knew it was survival. That silence, that season where it felt like no one checked on you, understood you, or stood by you. It was surgical, painful, but precise. Sometimes God lets you sit alone, not to punish you, but to detox you from voices that would have made you doubt yourself, from influences that would have watered down your identity, from attachments that looked like love, but were actually distractions in disguise. When you carry something rare, you cannot afford to be surrounded by what is common. So, yes, isolation feels like rejection, but it is actually refinement without interference. What you called loneliness, God called a security system. Because when hell has your name on a list, heaven does not give your address out lightly. He does not reveal weapons. He is still loading. That quiet season. Do not mourn rooms. God did not forget you. He was fortifying you. Not some goodbyes were survival codes. You were not abandoned. You were classified. Type sealed over every goodbye that was actually a clearance. Every goodbye that just got reclassified someone is still sitting in the wreckage of theirs, still grieving rooms they were never meant to stay in, still carrying the names of people God removed like evidence that something is wrong with them, still calling clearances abandonment because no one told them the difference. Heaven just reclassified your losses. Let that land. You are giving from a security clearance, from the understanding that what left was not taken, it was removed on purpose by a God who knew what your blueprint could not afford. When you release today, you are not sending charity forward. You are sending the code that tells someone still grieving their cleared-out season. What left was not punishment. It was protection. Let go of what God puts on your heart and say, Lord, send the code to the one who is still calling their clearance a loss. Number 8. You are not inspirational. You are infiltrational. You were not designed to just inspire people. You were built to infiltrate systems. There is a difference. Inspiration can motivate for a moment, but infiltration changes the entire framework. You were sent into spaces not to decorate them with nice quotes or safe affirmations, but to interrupt patterns, challenge norms, and plant truth bombs where people have been asleep for generations. You do not blend in well because you are not supposed to. You are not the light background music in the room. You are the alarm, nobody saw coming. People see your smile and your humility and assume you are harmless. But what you carry is disruptive on a genetic level. You have been encoded with answers that expose lies, with language that dismantles facades, with authority that shakes the foundations of systems that were never built on truth in the first place. That is why some rooms get uncomfortable when you speak. That is why some people avoid you without knowing why. It is not personal. It is spiritual. You carry keys, and keys do not fit into every lock. You were not sent to be everyone's favorite. You were sent to download heaven's agenda into places where corruption, compromise, or confusion have reigned too long. You are not the message. You are the delivery system carrying heaven's viruses into Babylon's software quietly, strategically, and with precision. And the wild thing, you probably do not feel like much. That is on purpose. God disguised you as ordinary so you could move in and flip the system from the inside, like Esther in a palace, like Daniel in Babylon, like Joseph in Pharaoh's court. You were never meant to overthrow from the outside. You were meant to transform from within. So, stop shrinking to fit the label of inspiring. You were not sent to motivate. You were sent to infect and awaken. You are the seed, the spark, the glitch in the matrix, the quiet presence that carries loud impact. And once you are activated fully, the systems around you will not even realize what hit them until they start changing. Number 9. They were the beginning of your legacy. When you were excluded, overlooked, or dismissed, it was not a sign of your failure. It was a clear message that your destiny was not to fit into someone else's framework. It was to build an entirely new one. You are not here to squeeze yourself into institutions that were not designed to hold your vision. You are not a puzzle piece trying to force fit into a picture that does not include your colors. You were created to be the architect of new systems, new cultures, new spaces, ones built on the truths, values, and innovations you carry. The things that rejected you lacked the capacity to contain you, so God began building something else through you, something bigger, bolder, and more aligned with your purpose. The pain of rejection is not a setback. It is a setup for dominance. You are not just surviving past the gates that closed. You are rising to outlive and outlast the very institutions that shut you out. They will become relics, outdated and irrelevant, while you lead new movements and create fresh platforms that better serve the people and purposes you were born for. This is why fitting in should never be your goal. Fitting in is a cage. You were made to break cages and design freedom to be the creator, not the consumer, the visionary, not the visitor. You are not waiting for an invitation anymore because you are busy drawing the blueprints, commissioning the builders, and laying the foundation. So, every no you received was not a door slammed shut. It was a call to build your own kingdom. You were not meant to take a seat at old tables. You are the architect. Number 10. You do not fit the mold because you are the prototype. You do not fit the mold because you were never meant to fit any mold in the first place. The world is full of copies, reproductions, and replicas. But you are the prototype. The first of your kind, the original design that breaks every pattern and defies every expectation. You are not a product of replication. You are the blueprint for what comes next. Trying to squeeze yourself into the boxes others fit only dilutes the essence of what makes you groundbreaking. When people look at you and say you are hard to define, it is not because you are complicated or confusing. It is because you are too original to be reduced to simple labels, categories, or expectations. You carry layers that do not fit into the ordinary because you were created to pioneer new territory. Territory that has never existed before. You are the first draft of a new species of purpose, meaning the world does not yet have the language, the maps, or even the eyes to fully see what you are. And that is exactly why you do not belong where everyone else belongs. Most people are content with being iterations, copies with minor tweaks, because it is easier. You, on the other hand, are the experiment, the wild card, the spark of innovation that cannot be replicated because it was not meant to be duplicated. You are the template for transformation that others will one day follow, but only after you have shown the way by being unapologetically yourself. Because you are the prototype, the pressure to conform is intense. Systems, cultures, and even people around you want to put you into a box, sometimes out of fear, sometimes out of misunderstanding. But the moment you accept being defined by someone else's limited perspective, you lose the power of your originality. Your uniqueness is not a glitch or a problem to fix. It is the feature that will revolutionize everything you touch. You are not difficult to understand. You are simply too innovative to fit existing frameworks. Your purpose, your voice, your presence were never designed to be ordinary or predictable. You are the future breaking into the present, the new code in a world running outdated software. Embrace that. Stand firm in it because the world needs the prototype, not another copy. Number 11. You are an answer disguised as a problem. You have walked into rooms where your presence felt like a problem, misunderstood, misjudged, and often met with resistance. But the truth is, you are not the problem. You are the answer they did not see coming. People looked at you and labeled you as difficult, disruptive, or even threatening. But what they were really afraid of was the cure you carried, something their systems, beliefs, or environments were not ready to receive. When you show up with fresh ideas, new perspectives, or bold convictions, it disrupts the status quo. Change always looks like a threat to those comfortable in old patterns. They try to diagnose you with problems you do not have, because their worldview cannot handle your solution. So instead of embracing what you bring, they push back, isolate you, or try to silence you. But it is not about you being wrong, it is about them being unprepared. You carry answers to wounds they do not want to acknowledge, truths that challenge the comfortable lies they have settled for. Your voice, your presence, and your passion are medicine for the deeper sickness in their systems. But medicine often tastes bitter at first, and cures rarely come wrapped in neat packages. You are that uncomfortable remedy, the radical healing agent that shakes foundations and forces people to rethink everything. This misunderstanding is a sign of your impact, not your failure. You were designed to enter spaces that seem too small for your calling and expand them from the inside out. You bring clarity where there is confusion, hope where there is despair, and transformation where there is stagnation. Your problem status is just the mask the answer wears until it is ready to be embraced. So, when people label you as difficult or disruptive, know that you are doing exactly what you were made to do. Being the cure in a world that is sick of the same old answers. Your presence might be unsettling now, but in time it will be recognized as the breakthrough everyone desperately needed. You are not a problem to be fixed. You are the solution waiting to be understood. Number 12. The delay was divine misinformation to the enemy. The delay you have endured is not a sign of failure or neglect. It is a master stroke of divine strategy. What looks like a setback, a season of silence, or a series of closed doors is actually divine misinformation designed to confuse and mislead the enemy. God intentionally allowed things to appear slow, stalled, or even broken, so that your unique blueprint could stay hidden from the forces working against you. Your delay is not about weakness. It is about protection. Satan does not target what he cannot see or understand. If your breakthrough happened too soon, or too loudly, it would have drawn attacks that could have crippled your purpose before it even fully formed. So God cloaked your progress in shadows, masked your destiny behind apparent delays, and kept your true value under wraps. This was not divine neglect. It was divine counterintelligence. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. It was dictated by heavenly precision. Every moment you felt invisible, you were being fortified. Every no you received was a piece of your armor being forged. Every closed door was a redirect to a higher strategy. The enemy's confusion is your advantage. While they watched and underestimated, God was working out every detail of your purpose. Your delay is not a flaw, it is a feature. You are a hidden operative in a spiritual war built to disrupt the enemy's plans at the perfect moment when they least expect it. So, stop seeing your delay as failure and start recognizing it as divine camouflage. You are a classified asset in God's kingdom, a spiritual counterintelligence weapon waiting for the exact time to be deployed. And when that time comes, your impact will not just be noticeable, it will be unstoppable. Type, yes, I am not broken. I am classified. Number 13. You are a living proof that time cannot kill purpose. You are living proof that time itself has no power over true purpose. Every obstacle, every delay, every moment when it seemed like the world was against you did not erase your destiny. It only time-stamped your resurrection. The things that tried to disqualify you were not roadblocks. They were markers showing exactly when your purpose would rise again, stronger and more undeniable than ever. Time is not your enemy. It is your ally. While others think of it as something that can wear you down or run out, you move through it like a traveler who knows the destination already. You are not just surviving the ticking clock. You are time-traveling, navigating through moments and seasons with a purpose that transcends chronology. Your calling is not delayed or denied. It is precisely arriving on schedule in perfect alignment with God's plan. Everything meant to break you, disqualify you, or slow you down was actually seasoning you. It was God's way of preparing your resurrection moment where your impact would not just be noticeable, it would be seismic. You carry within you the echo of time, the evidence that no setback can alter what God has ordained. You are not a victim of time, you are its masterpiece. This is why you can hold on to faith when the world feels like it is spinning out of control. Your purpose is not bound by the calendar or the opinions of others. It is written in eternity. When the moments come that seem like the darkest, they are actually the prelude to your breakthrough. Time did not kill your purpose. It was merely the stage on which your resurrection story is being told. So, when you look back and see every struggle, every closed door, every painful season, know this: those were the timestamps on your journey. They mark the exact moments God was working behind the scenes to prepare you for your destined arrival. You are not just here to live, you are here to prove that purpose outlasts time, breaks chains, and rewrites history. Number 14. This era is starving for what you have been quietly cultivating. This era is not just waiting for something new, it is starving for exactly what you have been quietly cultivating all this while. The very things that made you seem odd, awkward, or out of place in past seasons are now what make you irreplaceable. What others dismissed as your weirdness, your too much, or your unpolished edges is the missing piece that the world desperately needs, but cannot yet articulate. You were never just an extra player or a backup plan. You are the missing link, the bridge between broken systems and fresh solutions, between old wounds and new healing, between impossible problems and divine breakthroughs. The things you developed in silence, the resilience, the insight, the fierce integrity, are exactly the tools this time demands. You were not cultivated for comfort. You were cultivated for crisis and for change. This is not a season for copycats or the recycled. It is a season for originals who have been shaped by fire, honed in solitude, and sharpened by purpose. You are not just needed, you are heaven's contingency plan. The unexpected answer to questions no one else could solve. While others waited for permission or the right moment, you have been quietly preparing, growing roots deep enough to anchor a movement. Your past oddities are your badges of honor. The things that once made people doubt you are now the very things that will make them depend on you. This era will not just tolerate you, It will depend on you to bring what only you can bring. You are not the afterthought or the fallback. You are the essential breakthrough. So do not shrink back. Do not apologize for the parts of you that did not fit the old molds. The hunger around you is real, and your cultivated uniqueness is the feast. The hunger around you is real, and what you have been quietly cultivating is the feast. Someone right now is still in the silence, still growing roots nobody sees, still shaped by fire nobody applauded, still carrying what this era needs but not yet knowing the world is already starving for it. The roots you grew when no one was watching, they are ready to feed something. The link is in the description and the pinned comment, a coffee. A seed from the harvest that is finally in season, not from what you have accumulated, from what you have cultivated. There is a difference. Accumulated wealth is stored. Cultivated fruit is released at the right time, and the time is now. Someone is still in the silence growing what this era needs, still mistaking hiddenness for irrelevance, still wondering if the roots go deep enough. Your act today is the first fruit of a harvest that has been growing longer than anyone saw. Let go of what God puts on your heart and say, Lord, let this reach the one still growing in secret, and tell them the table is already being set. You are the answer that did not exist before. You are the quiet revolution that is about to become the loudest change. You were never meant to be ordinary. From the very beginning, your existence has been layered with purpose so profound, so intricate, that it defies the understanding of those around you. The world may have tried to fit you into a box, to silence your uniqueness, or to mislabel your presence as a problem. But the truth is far greater than any of that. You are God's masterpiece in motion, a living blueprint of divine intention crafted for such a time as this. Every moment of struggle, every season of waiting, every tear, and every wound has been part of a grander design, an invisible preparation for an undeniable awakening. You carry within you not just potential, but destiny. You are the answer wrapped in mystery, the disruptive force cloaked in humility, the architect of new beginnings disguised as a prototype. Your calling is not to simply exist or survive, but to transform, to redefine, and to outlast every institution, every expectation, and every limitation that dared to try to contain you. The world you are stepping into is desperate for what only you can bring. It is starving for your voice, your vision, and your courage to break molds and rewrite the narratives that have kept so many chained in mediocrity. You are not here to echo the past. You are here to originate the future. And while that future may seem uncertain or daunting, remember that you are not navigating it alone. You are backed by divine intelligence, guarded by purpose, and fueled by a resilience that time itself cannot diminish. So stand firm in your truth. Embrace the discomfort, the isolation, and the moments of doubt, for these are the very crucibles in which your greatness is forged. Know that every rejection was a redirection, every delay a divine pause, and every challenge an opportunity to awaken deeper layers of strength and clarity. You are not just a player in this story. You are the author. Your life is the living proof that purpose cannot be killed, that true identity cannot be diluted, and that the world's greatest revolutions begin with one soul daring enough to be unapologetically original. This is your moment. This is your assignment. This is the time for your extraordinary purpose to rise, and when it does, nothing will ever be the same again. Type now as your declaration that the classified season is over. If you want to go deeper into what God is building in this season, the full blueprint is in the first pinned comment below. It was placed there for the person who knows they are not behind. They are classified. If this message spoke to you, if you feel that stirring deep inside, the call to rise, to disrupt, to own your purpose, then do not keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear they were hidden on purpose, not forgotten. Share it might be the very thing that reminds them. Drop a comment below and share how you are embracing your unique assignment or the moments that shaped you. Your story might be the spark someone else desperately needs. And if you want more powerful reminders that you are God's top secret project created for such a time as this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Together, we are building a community of breakthrough, transformation, and unstoppable purpose. Remember, your journey matters, your voice matters, and your time is now.